Recently, I bought a new 3DS XL and the original 3DS. So let's discuss what it's like to buy, own, and play a 3DS in 2019. Hello everyone, my name is Adam and welcome to Time Lag Gaming. This entire question of whether or not the 3DS is worth it in 2019 might seem simple, but it's more complicated than it appears. Make sure to stick around at the end of the video because my conclusion might actually surprise you. The 3DS was probably the most influential gaming system in my life. When I was 11 years old, I watched Reggie announce the very first 3DS. I wanted it so bad, so I mowed lawns and found miscellaneous jobs and saved up $225 to buy one. I love the system and I've owned many over the years. I started off with the very first Cosmo Black 3DS and had it for several years. Eventually, I got bored of it and sold it. Then later on, I got the new 3DS XL to play Majora's Mask and a few other games that I'd missed. After I beat those games, I ended up selling it again. Then last year, I bought the limited edition Hyrule New 3DS XL pre-owned from GameStop. This one was super scratched up, so I played a few games, then returned it. I've also purchased dozens of other 3DS and DS that I just bought to flip and sell for money. Now fast forward to last month and I bought another 3DS yet again, but this time I'm actually keeping it. I purchased the new 3DS XL Hyrule Edition, brand new from OfferUp for $200. These go for $300 to $400 on eBay, so it was a really good deal. Then a few weeks later, I actually bought a used original purple 3DS on OfferUp for $60 because it was a super good deal. It was an absolute perfect condition and came with 3 games that were worth $60 themselves. I actually bought this one just to flip and sell. But I decided to play it and try it out because I haven't played the original 3DS since back in 2014. My experience playing with both of these 3DS models surprised me, but I'll get into that later. Part of the fun of buying a 3DS in 2019 is finding the system, but also finding the games for good prices and deciding which games to get. After all, the 3DS has an amazing library of games. I ended up getting a really good deal on games at GameStop. They were having a sale and I got all the Zelda games, Luigi's Mansion, and others for about $10 to $15 each. One thing that is hard with the 3DS in 2019 is finding the games with the original cases or with cases at all. When I bought Pilot Wings Resort and Triforce Heroes from GameStop, they did not have the original covers. Although, one thing you need to keep in mind is GameStop usually doesn't keep the original covers on the shelf. They keep them in drawers, so make sure to ask them if they actually have the case. I actually appreciate this because the pre-owned ones on the shelf were Nintendo Select covers, but they had the very original covers in the drawer. So what I did with Pilot Wings and Triforce Heroes is I kept the GameStop cases in my car, so if they had the cases the next time, I could go and swap them out. I was able to do this with Pilot Wings. They had it at another store and they just let me swap it out. Still looking for the Triforce Heroes cover though. A few of these 3DS games I bought on eBay because they were hard to find with the original covers. In general, it's super easy to find 3DS games for cheap. This is awesome because you can get a bunch of the system's best games for not that much money. And if you're buying a 3DS used, it will probably come with a few games. We all know that the 3DS isn't getting any new games now, and it's on its way out. When Nintendo releases a new Switch model, it's likely they will discontinue the entire 3DS line. So the point of buying a 3DS now is not for new games, it's for the tons of amazing games in its library over the past 8 years. I ended up getting all the ones you can see here. Many of these games I already owned as a child. Some are games I previously beat, like Kid Icarus Uprising, Super Mario Bros. 2, Mario 3D Land, Ocarina of Time 3D. Others are ones I used to have but never beat, like Majora's Mask 3D. And then there are several like Resident Evil, Luigi's Mansion, and Star Fox that I've never played at all. Now another thing you might want to consider is you can also play DS games too. So if you have old DS games laying around or want to replay some of your old favorites, this is another great addition. Yet another aspect of games on 3DS is eShop titles, including Virtual Console. The Nintendo Switch still does not have a proper Virtual Console after over 2 years. So the 3DS remains as one of, if not the best, official way to play classic games in the modern day. With some games, the 3DS is the only way to play them in the modern age. Game Boy games, for example. There are also some eShop only titles that are great as well. Another fun part of buying a 3DS in 2019 was buying accessories. If you're a fan of my channel, you'll know I love covering all the great Switch accessories. The first two accessories I had to get were a case and screen protector. Because the 3DS I got is a limited edition, I really need to protect it. I got the Waterfield Designs City Slicker 3DS case. This might look familiar because they have a City Slicker case for the Switch as well. The case is amazing. It feels super premium and is lined with microfiber that will protect your 3DS from scratches and dings. Now for screen protectors, there aren't many good options for the original or new 3DS XL, but the brand Aquox on Amazon has screen protectors for all 3DS models. This is the one I bought and it's great. The top protector is actually glass. Now for chargers, there are two options and I recommend getting both. You should get one of the official ones. These are only $8 on Amazon. Some 3DS models don't come with chargers and it's great to own an official one. But then there's also the 6am Lifestyle Premium USB 3DS cable. This is essential because it lets you charge your 3DS from a battery bank, computer, power adapter, etc. And this brand is great because it's a long cable and it's super sturdy. These are the only accessories I have gotten so far. There are of course many more, but these are the must-haves. But now, let's get into the actual experience. The experience of playing the games, the experience of the software, and the different experiences between the original 3DS and the new 3DS XL. This is where it gets more complicated. First off is what it's actually like to play these older games now in 2019. While there definitely are many amazing games on the system, a lot of these games do not have a ton of depth. Of course, there are many with good depth, but a large amount are really only good for short bursts of gameplay and can leave you feeling a little empty-handed. This is not necessarily a bad thing. It's great for playing on the go when you don't have much time. I can easily boot up Kid Icarus or Super Mario 3D Land and play level quickly. But still, the lack of depth can be off-putting if you're not expecting it. Moving on, the crappy resolution and graphics really do not age well. It's super hard to go back to the 240p graphics when we are all used to HD graphics now. However, for me, when I crank up that 3D, I actually stop noticing the bad graphics because the 3D is so immersive. It's sort of hard to explain, but I've always loved the 3D on the 3DS. Even back when it first came out and did not have eye tracking, so it was way harder to use, I still preferred it. I'll touch more on graphics later on. But because of the lack of depth in content and the bad graphics, it can make it hard to get sucked into a game you've never played before. If it's a remake or a port that you've played before, like Ocarina of Time 3D, then it's very easy to get sucked in. But for games you've never played, playing them for the first time on 3DS can be hard to actually keep wanting to play. Especially now with the thousands of games on Nintendo Switch and my growing backlog of games I haven't played. So trying to play a game I've never played before on 3DS can honestly be a chore. So because of this, for some people, the 3DS might not be worth it. If you're a big Zelda fan or a big JRPG fan though, I would say it's absolutely worth it. But all the good indie games have made their way over to Switch, and a lot of the great first party and even third party games have ports or equivalent games on Switch. I was excited to buy some of the great indies I used to want to play on 3DS, but then realized pretty much every good indie on 3DS is now on Switch. Don't get me wrong, there are still lots of amazing games on 3DS. You just need to figure out for yourself if the games you would play are going to be worth it. Now onto software. I was an early adopter of the 3DS, and so much has changed over the years. The UI and the entire experience is so much faster now. Part of this could be because of the faster hardware on the new 3DS. But even when testing out the original 3DS, it feels so much quicker with everything. This is because of all the software updates over the years. If you think the Switch gets lots of updates, the 3DS got even more of them over the first few years. And these software updates have continued to this day. So overall, everything is faster, booting up a system, launching games, downloading games, it all feels much faster. This is very nice because you can jump in and out of games very quickly, just like with the Switch. But there have also been many other features added, like the theme shop, Flipnote Studio 3D, other apps, and nice improvements like being able to download games later in sleep mode. Yes, some of these have been around for a few years, but were not available during the first several years after launch. So if you previously owned a 3DS 8 years ago, but ended up selling it, there are many new things you will enjoy. On top of all this, there are many great things with the user experience in general. This includes a full-featured activity log, organized eShop with music, dedicated meme maker, internet browser, notes, activity tracker, folders, and built-in games like Face Raiders, AR cards, and Spot Pass games. These are all things that the Switch doesn't even have. It really gives the 3DS its own personality and charm. And lastly, we have the experience with hardware. As previously mentioned, I've been using the new 3DS XL and the very original 3DS. I spent $200 on the new XL model, but I'm telling you I honestly prefer playing on the original. I have big hands, but I still find the original more comfortable. It sounds weird, but because it's smaller, it's easier to grip in a more comfortable position. When I use the XL, my fingers lay more flat on the bigger body, but because of this, it's a little uncomfortable to use the circle pad. The original is also much lighter, which also adds to the comfort. Not only this, but the original 3DS has the best screen. By this, I mean that the graphics are not being stretched out over the much bigger XL screen. Even the regular sized new 3DS has a bigger screen than the original, which means the graphics aren't as sharp. The original 3DS screen makes games look so much sharper than the other models. The only 3DS revision with the same quality screen is the regular 2DS because it has the same size screen. But to me, when I play in 3D, the graphics look even better than in 2D, so I don't like the 2DS. The original 3DS is also the cheapest. I would say get the original 2DS, but it's usually overpriced considering you can get the original 3DS for the same price or cheaper. However, I still would recommend the 2DS over the other models. All of that being said, the difference is not horrible between screen sizes. The newer models are still great ways to play and have a few exclusive games. But I personally think the original 3DS is the best way to experience the library of games. If you do want to get a newer model and don't mind investing money, I would recommend getting a limited edition. Getting a limited edition will maintain the value. All the older models keep dropping in value, but the Hyrule edition that I have will maintain its price. Although the original models go for $30 to $50 used all the time, so they're super cheap. In conclusion, if you're interested in buying a 3DS in 2019, be aware the graphics in general are pretty bad. Many games don't offer a lot of depth, and many of the great games have ports or equivalents on the Switch. That being said, if you're okay with those things and want to play a great library of games, then the 3DS in 2019 is definitely worth it for a lot of people. I personally think the original version is the best way to go. It's cheap, easy to find, light, comfortable, better graphics, more portable, and one of the best looking versions. If you want to buy a 3DS to play the amazing library of games, buy the original model. Not the XL version, not the new 3DS, not the new 3DS XL, and not even the new 2DS XL. The very original. If you do want to get a new 3DS, don't pay more than $100 unless you're getting a limited edition. And while it can be hard to find 3DS games with their original cases, the games themselves are everywhere and very affordable. I'm really glad that I bought a 3DS in 2019. These Zelda games are amazing. Kid Icarus Uprising is a masterpiece, and there are so many genuinely fun games to play, including Mario, Yoshi, Kirby, Pokemon, and so many more. I'm even going to try and find an original black 3DS to buy and keep. So for me, it's completely worth it. But I want to hear from you. Are you thinking of buying a 3DS? Do you think it's worth it for you after watching this video? Let me know your take in the comments down below. Thanks again for watching.